Hello and welcome to the Crimson Stitchery. In this video I'm going to be demonstrating how to do a garter tab cast on. This is most commonly used for a shawl, including shawls that I've designed for the Crimson Stitchery such as Hawthorn Tincture. And links to view my original designs can be found in the down bar here below on YouTube. A garter tab cast on is not at all difficult to work, and what it does is create a little extra piece of fabric, or the tab, at the beginning of a shawl when you're casting on, and it's generally worked for these kind of top-down shawls or ones that start in the middle of a triangle or the nape of the neck. It's not difficult to work at all, but the instructions can seem a little bit confusing sometimes when they're written down, so I hope that you find this video helpful. So I'll just demonstrate a basic garter tab cast on, which is going to leave me with 9 stitches, and after I've done that demonstration I'll just talk through how you would alter this method that I'm showing you for any pattern that you are working, just in case some of the numbers are slightly different. Okay, let's go! So I've got my yarn and needles to hand here, and I'm going to start by casting on 3 stitches. It doesn't really matter what method that you use to cast on. I'm going to just go for the long tail cast on because that's quite straightforward for me. You just don't want to do it too tight, that's the main thing, so don't be yanking that tail too hard. And just in case your tail of the yarn is too much, you can just cut that off and leave about 4 inches or 10 centimeters, or you can do what I like to do, which is just simply tie a little knot in the end there, which really clearly marks that this is not the working yarn. All right, so now I've cast on my 3 stitches, and I'm going to work 6 rows back and forth in garter stitch, since this is the garter tab. So let me just get on with that. Row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So work the rows in pairs and end with an even number, and then my 7th row is going to be my turning row. So let me do that now. Work across row 7, get to the end, and don't turn my work now, but instead I will rotate my knitting 90 degrees clockwise. So it was like that, and I'm just turning it like that. And now I'm looking at my garter stitch vertically. So I've got ridges or mountaintops, and then I've got the valleys in between. And I'm going to be picking up 3 stitches, 1 in each valley. 1, 2, 3. So obviously I did 6 paired rows of garter stitch, and I'm picking up half of those stitches. So I did 6 rows, and now I'm picking up 3 stitches, 6 divided by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and do that by just inserting the right hand needle, wrapping it in and pulling it out. That's my preferred method of picking up stitches. There are other ways to do it too. All right, and then now I'm going to rotate my work 90 degrees clockwise again and pick up 3 more stitches, this time from the bottom of my original 3 cast on stitches. And in my opinion, this ends up looking pretty subtle and you won't really notice it, so don't have to worry too much about, exactly lining it up. And I'm going to do this in the same way, sticking the needle in, wrapping it around and pulling it through. 1, 2, 3. And that's it. So I've got 9 stitches. The first 3 stitches came from the 7th row that I worked, the tab that I worked. Then I picked up the next 3 stitches from the valleys between the garter stitch ridges, and then last 3 stitches were picked up from the original cast on edge. And you can see I've got this crescent shaped piece of fabric here that's going to fill in any gaps at the beginning of my shawl. And for this shawl with 9 stitches, I've got a 3-stitch border. So because I cast on 3 stitches to begin with, my edge stitches on the sides of the triangle are going to be 3. But if you've got a different number in your pattern, if you've got 2 stitches for the edge, you would cast on 2 stitches at the beginning, and then you'd have your 2 and your 2. If your pattern requires you to have more or less stitches than 9, the way that you achieve that is through the ridges and the valleys. So I knit 6 rows of garter stitch and ended up picking up 3. If I needed to pick up, I don't know, 5 stitches, for example, in the middle, I would have knit 10 rows of garter stitch. So that's where you add the extra length. And then remember that the next odd row becomes your pickup row. And that's it. So as you can see, it's really not difficult at all, and it's really quick to do. If you found the written instructions for this kind of thing confusing, I recommend just picking up the needles and having a go, because it really doesn't take very much time at all. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you found this video tutorial helpful. If you have done, please do hit the thumbs up button down below and drop me a comment and let me know what you think. Subscribe to the Crimson Stitchery for more tips, tutorials and monthly vlogs of everything that I've been making. I add new tutorials all the time, generally at the request of my viewers. So if there's something that is confusing you or that you'd like me to address at the Crimson Stitchery, feel free to just drop a comment on this video here on YouTube and let me know, and I'll add it to the list of tutorials to make. Thanks so much. Happy knitting. Bye bye.